All right, I think we're started here. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to, I think this is our 7th town hall we've had for Reskill Americans. And I know everyone has been actively going through the program, and it's been a lot of work. I've been following along, looking at all the course notes, and there's a lot of, it's pretty intense. I think if you feel a little overwhelmed, I do not blame people, but it's I think I've seen a lot of really great work from people, and I just want to say I'm going to be on at noon Pacific today. I'm going to do a office hours myself, and I've asked Shay if some of the instructors are going to do some more office hours to help people. I think especially if you're stuck at an earlier week's part of the program, do let us know. Post in the track channel on Slack, and try to get help from a mentor, just whatever state you're at. And just our main goal is to help you move forward, and don't worry too much about if you are 1 or 2 weeks behind on some of the assignments. I think our main goal is to help you acquire more skills and to get as far as you can at the pace you're able to. So anyway, this morning we have a special guest, and I just want to say good morning, Juwan, first. I don't know if you want to say hi to everybody.
Okay, yes, I'd love to. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you all this week, and excited for what we can achieve this week.
Thank you, Juwan. And so this morning we have Deborah Russell is with us this morning, and she's from the DC area, and she works for the Workforce Investment Council. So this was a thing I didn't know much about, and I think Deborah is going to be here to tell us about. I think she referred to this as like one of the secret programs of the federal government. Not really secret, but it's like a lot of people don't know about it, and it's all about workforce training, how to get people to transition into new jobs in the workforce, and she's been working in this area for 20 years. So, and what we're going to try to do today is give people an understanding of the tools that they could use, additional tools they could use out there for support and guidance, and for whatever kind of career pathway you want to have, and what you're doing. So, Deborah, welcome to the town hall.
Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. As you know, I heard about this opportunity one day through my executive director, and was so excited to include DC residents who would be interested in going into IT. So we had a conversation and talked about how workforce could be a partner, and then we went down the road of what is workforce. And so this is a great opportunity, because I always talk about the fact that we are the best kept secret, but that we shouldn't be, because this is a public opportunity and public benefit for anybody who lives in the United States. And so with that, let me get started. As Mike introduced me, I'm Deborah Russell. I am the Associate Director for the DC Workforce Investment Council. My area of focus is in performance and impact. So everything that I do is about ensuring that all of the programs that are funded either federally or locally are running well, are serving customers. We track that kind of data to make sure that performance is going well. How can we improve, continuous improvement? I also am involved in labor market information and understanding what's happening nationally as well as locally, what businesses are hiring and what high growth industries. And so that's essentially my job. And so can we go to the second slide?
Let's see. Can you see the slides okay?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to tell you my career pathway story, because I think it's probably like many others. Although that's a man standing in the middle of the street, just think of it as me standing in the middle of the street with lots of opportunities, having graduated from college, right? So I was a political science major. Why? Because my dad was, and because he went into the Foreign Service. And I had an opportunity to travel to many countries and live in many countries. I thought, this is fantastic, and this is what I want to do. However, upon graduating from college, I took the Foreign Service exam. I passed that exam, and part of the interview includes a one-day simulation, the day in the life of a Foreign Service officer. So I went to the State Department and sat in an office and realized that all they do is paperwork. It was the most bureaucratic opportunity that I have ever experienced, and realized, oh my God, I am not interested in this at all. What I actually enjoyed about the Foreign Service was the traveling. So I should have been a travel agent, or, you know,
Oh, then you're just sitting behind a desk and watch other people travel.
Sitting behind a desk, watching other people travel. And now I'm thinking, oh my God, now what? And to be honest with you, through a series of, I did temp for for about 2 years, worked in the legal area, worked in many other areas, and stumbled upon a large nonprofit organization called AARP. I'm sure many of you have heard of AARP. It's the organization that supports people that are over the age of 50. In my role at AARP, I fell into workforce and realized how important work is to our livelihood, to our dignity, to our economic security. It's how we raise our families, buy houses, go on vacation, buy cars, all of that, right? You have to have a job. But it's not just about a job. Most people want a career, right? They want to do something meaningful. They want to wake up every morning and be excited about what they were doing. And so based on that, I have now spent the past 20 plus years in the area of workforce. And so I want to tell you a little bit about what workforce is all about and how you can take advantage and help yourself using the resources in workforce to help you on your career pathway as well. Next slide. So the role of the workforce system is it focuses on individuals' ability to grow their skills, develop the tools that they need for business success so that they can be marketable to business. In other words, we prepare individuals to be productive and prosperous in the workplace, which benefits both you and the employer. Employers tell us all the time, we're looking for people who have the skills, both the occupational skills, but also the workplace skills. What does that mean? They come to work on time, they get along with their fellow coworkers, they're excited about coming to work, they're productive, all of those things. So we look at both sides of the coin, both how we help you have the occupational skills to do the job, but also preparing you for what today's business demands in terms of good workers. Next slide. Oh, wow, I didn't do all of that. You might have to press it a couple of times. So we provide an integration and a collection of different programs and services in order to serve you. Mike, if you hit that one more time, I think there's one more
there it is.
Come up. Perfect. Okay. So on the federal level, one of the largest work programs on the federal level is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. So we call it WIOA. You can look it up, you can Google it, and you'll get lots of information. Billions of dollars flow out of this regulation out to the states, to the local municipalities to help individuals with employment. And it's broken out in a couple of ways. We work with what we call adult and dislocated services. Dislocated workers are individuals who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. Downsizing, right, would be one. And so what kind of services do they offer? We offer career assessment and coaching. So we talk about what skills do you have? What are your values and what do you care about in the workplace? And then we look at where those opportunities within industries are for, based on what your likes and your skills are. Do you have transferable skills to new career opportunities? We offer occupational training, paid for by the federal government, free to you as an individual. Now, there are eligibility requirements, so you can't just walk in the door and say, hey, I want training. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But nonetheless, if you enroll and you are eligible, training is free.
Deborah, can I ask a basic question?
Of course.
So if I were just to go to a local unemployment office that I find in my city or whatever, is that related to this program? Would they refer me to this program? How does that work?
So the way that it works is, I'm interested, I need some help, and I'm looking for training, right?
Yeah.
I go to, we don't call them unemployment offices anymore.
I'm sorry.
So no, please. I'm glad you said it, because this is an opportunity for me to talk about that.
Thank you.
So we call them American Job Centers, okay? And the reason we call them that is, if you remember the old unemployment office, right? You went in and basically it was all about talking about unemployment, right?
Yeah.
If you were looking for a job, you had to go someplace else. If you were looking for other benefits, you had to go someplace else. The Fed said, we need what we call a one-stop center, somewhere where someone can go and get all the resources and information and services that they need in order to help them with their employment. So these days we call them the American Job Center. And yes, you would go into an American Job Center, and the first thing that would happen is, after they greet you and ask you how your day is, and if they don't do that, make sure that you write that down, because customer service is paramount in the American Job Center. After that, they're going to ask you why you're here and what you're looking for. And that's when, the doors, kind of go into different directions. You might have just lost your job and are looking for another job in the same industry that you were doing. You just need help with some resume writing, maybe some connection to employers. You may be brand new to the workforce and are looking for a career opportunity. You don't know what kind of career, you need some help thinking that through. You may be interested, you may just need access to a computer lab where you can do your own self-directed job search and print out a resume. So those centers are there for you to help you. But yes, if you are interested in going into training, you will meet with a workforce specialist that will begin to assess those needs. And if training is warranted, yes, that's where you would then be referred to someone in the same building that would help you then get enrolled and prepared for training.
Great.
Now, I'm going to qualify this by saying that every state is different in terms of how long the process takes and that sort of thing, but that is the way that the process works.
Great.
It also connects you to employment opportunities. I oversaw a career center in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. We did hiring events every week with employers. We were near the airport. And so Southwest Airlines would come into our American Job Center and recruit on a weekly basis. So we have the ability to connect you to employers because we have those relationships with the employers.
Oh, so you can do like one-on-one networking and meet the hiring managers and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
That's great.
I can make a phone call and talk to an employer and say, hey, I have this great worker. His name is Mike Koss. We have put him through occupational training. He has gotten his certification. We have done workshops on, great workplace skills and etiquette. And we think he is going to be a great contributor to your, to the work that you're doing. That's your foot in the door. I am your foot in the door.
Okay, yeah.
And then we offer supportive services. So what is supportive services? Let's say you're having trouble paying for transportation. Let's say you're having issues with childcare. Let's say that you are starting a job in construction and it requires you to have steel boots and a hat and all of those things. Supportive services are those dollars that we put towards filling those gaps that somebody might need in order to be successful in the workplace. Okay.
That's cool.
WIOA also focuses on youth. We do both in-school youth, so those individuals who are about to graduate from high school, usually about high school senior level, and those who we call out-of-school youth, who are between the ages of 18 to 24. And we offer the same sort of services. We also work with the agency that is responsible for helping people who need cash assistance need help with food assistance. And that's our TANF. So the temporary assistance for needy families is called TANF, and supplemental nutrition assistance program is called SNAP. So you will hear those two acronyms, and that's what that has to do. Those programs also offer employment assistance, doing a lot of the same things that we're talking about here. They help people with training, employment, supportive services, all of those things to help people successfully get into the workforce. Next slide. So Mike, we were just talking about how, you know, we also are involved in working with employers. It is a huge part of what we do, is talking to employers about the value that the pipeline of workers that we have to their workplace. We also talk to them about things like, do people really need a degree in order to do this work? So we do a lot of work behind the scenes to talk to employers about the demographic of talent that are coming down the pike and how we're preparing them for the workforce. And that many of them may not have college degrees. However, they have the occupational skills and the training and certification to meet their needs. So some of the things that we do to work with employers is we provide customized hiring events for them, where we will have pre-screened qualified workers in advance for them to interview and consider. We offer paid internship opportunities as a strategy for getting somebody into the workplace. Maybe they need some experience, just, you know, what it's like to work in a particular industry or in a particular occupation. We offer internship, and we also offer on-the-job training. This is great for employers because this is what I call try as you buy. Right? So you hire someone that may need a little bit of training before they're really 100% qualified for the job. We can help fill that gap by offering training. And you'll see at the top of the picture on the right, human resources. I always say that workforce is like the external human resources for any company. Because let's say that Mike gets a job. I get him a job in a particular company. And then Mike doesn't show up for like 3 days, right? Most companies would be like, well, then Mike is fired, right? But if they've been working with the workforce system, they're going to call and say, you know, we haven't seen Mike for 3 days. We're a little concerned. What's going on? I have a relationship with Mike. So I call Mike as his career coach and I say, Mike, what's going on? And Mike said, my car broke down and I can't get to work. Because I have been working with Mike and Mike is still my customer. So once you have exited the program, we spend a year following up with you.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Making sure that you're still working, that, you know, there aren't any other issues that are getting in the way of you being successful in the workplace, you know, all of those things. So I say, Mike, come in, let's have a conversation. I still have supportive services money that I can help Mike fix his car so he can go back to work. And I'm going to call that employer and say, you know what, Mike was having some issues. He didn't realize, we're going to get him back on track. And because I have that relationship with the employer is going to give Mike a second chance.
Oh, cool.
So I always say that when we sell this to businesses, we talk about the fact that we are your free external human resources department. Next slide.
Oh, and apprenticeships.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
And customized training.
See, I didn't do this. I don't know why this is doing that. So my apologies for that.
It's okay.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about career pathways. Hit it one more time. I think
Yeah, I know.
So what in the world is a career pathway? Well, a career pathway is what transitions you from education and training through the workforce system. It helps increase education and training so that at the end of the day, you can emerge as a qualified worker that can travel the continuum within a career. Next slide. So let's talk a little bit about what a career pathway model would look like. So basically what we do is we take national labor market information on high growth industries. So for the purpose of this one, because I am not as well versed in IT, so maybe Mike, you can translate this afterwards. So I'm going to use healthcare. Okay. So we will talk about the fact that healthcare is a huge, high growth, in demand industry, right? The country is getting older, and now with COVID, we're dealing with, many people who are going to have long-term ongoing health issues as a result. So healthcare is huge. One of the entry levels into healthcare is a certified nurse's assistant, CNA. So we go from this is the industry to talk about here are the occupations within the industry that you might start going into, right? And there are many different on-ramps. And I say on-ramps because you might be entry level. So you're going to start maybe with certified nursing assistants because that's kind of the entry level into healthcare. But maybe you've already been in healthcare for a while. And so maybe you're interested in going into nursing, which would be a different career path because most nurses go to college and get a college degree as opposed to a certification. Then we talk about, well, what are the kinds of training and education that's needed in order to continue down the pathway of healthcare? So we will start to identify what those look like and what that might result in. So for instance, if I'm going into certified nursing assistants, my next career pathway is phlebotomy. Because if I know how to draw blood, I'm going to make more money, and that's going to get me up to the next step. The next step in that career pathway may be what they call sterile processing, which is basically cleaning all of the instruments that a doctor might use, as a surgeon might use if they are conducting surgery. So as you can see, it's incremental levels up, if you will, within a career. And we talk to businesses about what that might look like, right? Because you can't create a career pathway unless you're talking to businesses about creating those pathways. And so we talk about that as well. And
so it sounds like someone might actually be talking to you for many years while they're entering the workforce.
Potentially. It kind of depends, to be honest with you. Yeah. We don't always get people that are starting from square one.
I see.
Many times we're getting people that have some skills, but have had what I would call an opportunity job, right? They fell into a job, they've kind of had that job. For whatever reason, something has changed and they're interested in starting a career, and we may help them in that way. So
I see. Just like how to enter, what the most appropriate entry point would be for them. Yeah,
exactly. We're not going to follow you through your entire career because you're right. That would be years. But what we do is we create a map for you on what that career pathway might look like for you so that you can start having those conversations and start thinking about whether or not you need more education or training in order to get there.
Great.
Next slide.
Oh, here we go.
All right. So, so in my research, I have found that the primary career pathways in IT are IT support specialists, your networking specialist, your cybersecurity specialist, your software and web developers, which is kind of what most folks are doing now, right? Coding.
In our program, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and data specialists. And I say that because you can see that there is a plethora of ways that you can go in the IT field. And so, we have created career pathways, and most of the American job centers that you will go to across the country will have career pathways in the IT field as well. So you can learn more about what those opportunities are as you are coming off and getting your certification, knowing kind of what that career pathway is going to look like moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide. I just wanted to pull this out. I think there's a few more. There might be a more. Oh, there might be one more.
It's kind of like playing Russian roulette. One of these is gonna move to the next slide.
I apologize. I didn't think I put that functionality in, so my
It's okay.
apologies. But I thought it would be important just to people, for people to know that, you know, I've been talking about high growth industries, and this is something that we pay attention to because this is what we spend most of our dollars in training, you know, the public in. Those areas that we know are going to be in demand are in demand now and are going to continue to be in demand. So as you can see, IT is on there, but retail and hospitality, the service industry and restaurant, transportation and warehouse, manufacturing, mostly in the Midwest, healthcare, and gig employment, which people are doing more and more of, particularly, you know, since the economy has changed so significantly. But I say all of this also to say that IT cuts across all of those industries.
Yes, it does.
So when you start thinking about a job in IT, you don't have to just be in IT industries. You can be in other industries doing the same kind of work in the same kind of training that you're doing now. So just thinking about the fact that the world is bigger than just thinking about IT. It is the one of the few industries that cut across all of these other industries.
Yeah,
so
in fact, in a few weeks, we're going to have someone who's in manufacturing out and manufacturing automation who's going to talk to us about what
mechatronics. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a huge area. Health IT, you know, another huge area, and lots of employment opportunities in that area as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to give you these slides, Mike, and if there are people that are interested in getting copies, or if it's on YouTube, then they'll have this, because I think this is really important.
Yeah, I can
for people
distribute
to
them
think
too,
about. Okay, great. Next slide.
Here we go.
Right. So people say, great, Deborah, this is great information. Now what do I do? Where do I go? Well, know that American Job Centers are available in all 50 states and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And they're not just at the state level, they are in your local areas. Oftentimes there are more than one career center within your area. So for instance, New York has about 5 or 6, one almost for every borough. So, you know, when you're looking it up, know that there is one close to you. And as I talked about, the services that they're going to offer for anybody that walks in the door is helping you with job readiness workshops. They'll do everything from resume writing and interviewing skills and dressing for success and all of those kinds of things that one would need to know to prepare for the workplace. They will absolutely sit down and help you with your resume writing. They all have computer labs, so you can go in again and do your own self-directed type of work search. You'll have access to a workforce specialist that you can sit down and have a conversation with about your particular, you know, career goals and your needs. And then they also are connected to community resources. As I said before, people who might need help with childcare, people who might need help with clothing assistance, people who might need help with transportation. Most of those American Job Centers are going to be connected to community resources as well. Next slide. So I went through the list of states that are mostly represented in this training that you are offering. And so rather than putting down the phone numbers, because quite frankly, there's the main number, I would have to know where everyone lives. And so since that is not a good information that you can pass on, I just did it based on states. Okay. You should be able to call your American Job Center and ask for either where the comprehensive job center is or their affiliate centers. And they all offer similar resources. You know, sometimes the affiliate centers may focus more on a particular demographic, like they may offer more services to youth, that sort of thing, but you will always find a comprehensive job center and you will find affiliate centers in your area. So is
there a master website like to go to, or a URL that will get you to any local one, or do you have to find your local state one? If you
Google American Job Centers, it will send you to a main site where you can go in and type in your state. And
Okay.
it will give you a list of all of the American Job Centers in your area, their
Okay.
address, their phone number, and their email address.
Great.
All right, next slide.
Oh, I forgot Virginia.
Oh,
There we
and
go.
Virginia. All right.
You're done. Okay.
So that was the end of my presentation. Just wanted to give you sort of a peek inside of what the workforce system does, the fact that it is free to you and that you should take advantage of it. The fact that they do connect with employers. So, I think that's, critical as well. And that they have trained professionals there that can help you as you're contemplating kind of what you want to do with your career.
No, that's great.
So I wanted to pause there and see if there are any questions or how you want to handle sort of next steps, Mike.
Yeah, we have a few that are been on YouTube, and I think one that's you mentioned that there are requirements for the WIOA program. Could you tell us what are kind of requirements that you would need to fulfill to get that access to some of this stuff?
Yeah, it's actually very simple. Your driver's license, that you live in, that particular state, because each state gets a pot of money. So it's basic eligibility requirements and nothing beyond that.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have to be laid off or what.
No,
you're
you
employed.
do not have to be.
You just have to be. You could be unemployed or employed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So just
because we also work with people that we consider underemployed.
Yes.
So, you may be working, but, you're not making that much money. It is not getting you anywhere. So yes, we absolutely work with, those who may be employed, but are looking for new opportunities, or are underemployed, or people who are unemployed. So yes, the Comprehensive Center is there. The American Job Center is there for anyone that is seeking assistance with employment.
Okay, great. And so is it like going to the DMV? Is it going to be really crowded? Like what are the kind of, what do you expect about how responsive they would be?
It all depends, to be honest with you.
On your state,
Every state is going to look different.
Yeah.
I would imagine that New York is probably a little bit more crowded than, someplace, in the Midwest where there's less population. Is it like the DMV? No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's like the DMV. They are much more customer focused. They are much more about getting you in and getting you, beginning to do some sort of work, whether it's doing some job search or that sort of thing.
It sounds like a very personalized service as opposed to
just very
treating you like a number and getting you in and out kind of thing.
Absolutely. Because, you're going to have a relationship with a coach who's going to get to know you and get to know, things about you that can help you in your job search. Right. Now, let me qualify this by saying we're in COVID. Okay.
Yes.
So right now,
how does it all work now?
Any of the job centers may be closed. Now, closed only means that you can't walk in right now.
Yeah.
But you can call, and like here in DC, we have career coaches that are having one-on-one conversations with their customers via Zoom. So you should still be able to get the kinds of services that you're looking for. It's just that right now, most of it is happening virtually. There are some career centers that are open, so you're just going to have to check based on your state.
Okay. Well, we had a question from Jan who said, if we have a college degree but want to go into a different field, do we qualify for internships?
Absolutely. Especially if you're interested in going into another career. You may not have the and the knowledge of and the skills that are needed. It's an opportunity to get to know that particular industry. So absolutely, that is definitely something that would be an opportunity. And again, I want to be clear that when you're getting to that point, that is very individualized and customized to you as an individual.
I see.
So it's not like internships for all. Then you will have enrolled in WIOA. You will have an individual employment plan that will have been created by the career coach and yourself. There will be a set of things that you'll be doing in order to reach your employment goals. So it becomes very customized.
Yeah. Plus, I'm sure what the employers in your area are doing and stuff like that. So, but it sounds like just giving you access to that knowledge and resources of what is out there is something very difficult for like a person to do on their own. It sounds great that they get that coaching.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, navigating, trying to figure out like what you want to do and where you want to go and, right? Because finding a job, 90% of it is networking, right?
Yeah.
It's who you know. We all know that. And so what we try to do is be that who you know, so that you can get your foot in the door.
That's
to
great.
Make sure that you have all the skills and the resources that you need to be successful. We are meeting the demand of business, because this is what businesses say that they need, and we make sure that we are creating talent that meets those needs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Juan, go ahead.
Yes. So first of all, I wanted to thank you, Deborah, for helping Mike out this morning.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, but on a more serious note, thank you for all the great work that you do. The first question that I did have was, somebody was asking where the major website for the American Job Center was, and I tried to do like a little Google search, and it brought me to the careeronestop.org.
Yes.
Is that the right place? Okay, yeah, I just wanted to be sure. And then secondly, there was something that you touched on, I guess, towards the end of the presentation that really struck to me, was the fact that you were helping gig workers, and I just wanted you to speak a little bit about that, because some of the participants that are probably gonna graduate from the Reskill American program probably gonna start their own businesses, and to figure out just ways to attract clients, how to do sales, because it's a whole lot that you have to do.
Absolutely, yes.
That you can help.
First of all, I would recommend that anyone that's interested in doing that, when they contact the American Job Center in their state, ask them what kind of resources and services they have for entrepreneurs. Some have full-on entrepreneurial programs where there are workshops that are all about starting your own business. I know in Anne Arundel County, we did that with a group of veterans. We connected them with the Small Business Administration also in terms of getting loans, but also they had to put together an actual full-on business plan, and it was a great workshop. So again, it's going to vary from state to state, but that would be the first thing that I would ask, is what kind of resources that they have for entrepreneurs. Do they have any workshops that are coming up? Are there other resources within the state that they can point to? A lot of times your economic development agency, and it's going to be called something different in every state, but your economic development agency also will have lots of resources for entrepreneurs, because they're all about helping people start businesses, right, in their state. The other thing that we're doing as it relates to gig economies is working on the back end from an advocacy perspective in things like, how do you get healthcare for people who are in a gig economy, right? So that it's affordable. How can we bundle some of these gigs in order to have a community of gig workers where we can have other benefits that they can have, access to. So we're working on it sort of on both fronts. One, helping the entrepreneur, if you will, but also on the back end, making sure that there are support systems, such as for us who get benefits because we're in a single employer. What do you do for those who are their own employer? And making sure that those kind of benefits are affordable.
That's cool.
So that's kind of where we are right now. This is kind of a new area, not so much entrepreneurism, but gig, you know what I mean? Because, starting your own business is different than, people who have, 3 and 4 different jobs that they have put together into a full-time job and have determined that that's the way they want to work.
Yeah.
Some don't want to do that. Some, for some people, this is an opportunity job because, they're out of work because of COVID. But for some, this has become something that they are really interested in continuing to pursue.
Yeah, I'm sensing a theme here, just like just realizing that if you're looking to transition to a new job, you don't have to do it alone. It's just like, even if just connecting to, other people, regardless of maybe not necessarily, for a specific job training but just to get that first connection to start to see who's out there, start to meeting, other people in your community and stuff like that. It's all going to help you grow your network and make opportunities. I think sometimes opportunities just kind of pop up and you don't necessarily know where that came from, but the first step is to just start talking to people and getting out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a question about average employment length for people who get jobs through Workforce.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they're talking about internships or they were talking about full-time employment.
Well, I can say if the question is about internships, usually internships last anywhere between, 3 months. I mean, it's really supposed to be an opportunity for you to just kind of get a sense of,
Kind of kick the tires kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. And, we do a lot of internships, for instance, for youth, right? Because they're still doing career exploration, trying to figure out what they want to do, in life. If you're talking about, permanent jobs, our goal is to make sure that you stay in a job for a long period of time.
Yeah.
During that time, some of the work that we're doing now is how do we help you while you're in that job move up within that job. And so hence going back to that career pathway, which we've done in the past. We've had someone who went through occupational training, got a job, was working for 6 months, came back into training, became a phlebotomist, and continued, their work. So it's hard to answer that question, but our goal is to make sure that you have a long-term employment experience, once we have exited you from the program. Okay.
And Chris asked about, I think, for someone who's working or busy during the weekday, can they get access to some of these programs nights and weekends?
That is a really, really excellent question. And I can tell you that there are some American job centers that have begun to look at this. So for instance, in DC, I think it's 1 day a week, it may be 2. We're open until 7 o'clock at night for exactly that reason. Okay. There are people who are working and who can't come during the day. Again, you will have to check with your individual state to see what they're doing in that area. Typically, they are not open on the weekends, but okay. I'm not going to speak to every state because I don't know how many of them are beginning to look at that as well.
All right. So I assume you can do can you set up appointments in advance? Like maybe yes. I can set up an appointment. It's I can take an hour off at this particular yes. time next week and arrange to do your phone call or whatever Zoom call with that agency then.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
That's better than sitting on hold, on the phone necessarily, but having a set time would be great.
Yes.
All right, Juan, are you seeing anything else?
No, I don't see anything right now.
Yeah, I think people were asking about individual states, but I think, going to that website and then looking for the information for your state. And if you want to, I think Deborah's offered to looking at the states where the majority of our participants are from. She's going to send us some information specifically, and we'll forward that on to everybody.
Yes.
So that'll give you a good starting point for them. And Deborah is she's a long-term partner with us, with our program as well. She will be watching, our cohort as we go through. And if anyone ever has any questions for her or, I will be happy to forward those on as well. So.
Absolutely. And I will end just by saying the best of luck. I know some people that are in this training. It is a lot, but very exciting. And I'm just very excited about this program. I think this is the absolute right way to go, and was thrilled to hear about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you all's success. And as Mike said, if you have any questions, if you have difficulty getting in touch with, anyone in your state as you are trying to access the American Job Center, please let Mike know, and he'll let me know, and I'll make sure that we can get you to the right person.
Yeah, and down the road, we'd love to be able to hook people up with when they're ready for. I guess they get at any time. They could still be in the middle of this program, or they could be maybe as you're starting to feel like your skills are getting to the point where you want to begin thinking about what is that career step going to be, you can contact Deborah or your local job center or American Job Center, or we'll help you get connected as well. So
Absolutely.
that's part of the thing. We would commit to helping people do that as well. So all right. So, well, thank you, Deborah. And I appreciate that. And so, yeah, we're getting a lot of thank yous on the YouTube chat. So I think we're probably going to wind it up here now. Just to kind of talk a little, and thank you. It was really interesting to hear about that. And I'm glad to see that there are opportunities like this for people. They don't have to do it alone. So
My pleasure. Absolutely. Anytime.
As far as our program goes, like I said, about noon today, I'll be doing some office hours. I think some of our instructors are going to start doing some office hours too. I'll try to promote those. I'll be on Zoom at noon. I won't necessarily have a lot of information about the particular assignment you're doing, but I'll see what we can do. We can chat about getting you some help on whatever assignment you're working on now. So I think that's all I have. Juan, do you have anything else?
No, that's everything. I mean, just one final thing. Seeing that you worked in like employment for like 20 years, what is just the one advice that you can give to people who are like going to be looking for jobs and looking to kickstart their career, especially in this new field of IT?
I think the most important thing is stay up to date and stay informed. I think that, knowing about what is available out there and being able to ask for it, I think is really important, which is why I was so glad to be on this call, because as I said, this is a best kept secret and it shouldn't be. And so, be informed and take advantage of those opportunities that are out there, because we're here to serve our customers who are looking for employment. So, come see us. And if you're not getting what you want, ask somebody else, or, come back and talk to us and we'll see what we can do to help. But yes, by all means, stay informed, stay up to date as to what's going on in your state. Yeah.
And don't get discouraged if like the person you talk to might not necessarily know immediately like what to do, because I think we are in a, especially people studying this program, it's not everybody knows about software development. So the person might have to do a little research but get you connected. I could tell one quick little story. Like back in the 1980s, I tried to start a software business. And so I went to the Small Business Administration. I didn't know how to start a business. I mean, I was really into computer programming, and I wanted to build a business of my own. I started a small company, and we got an appointment with the Small Business Administration. And I think it was like a volunteer, retired business person or whatever, the way they ran the program there. And we were chatting with him about being in a software company and stuff like that. And we got down the road many, many minutes, and then said, well, let me understand, you're going to make sweaters and hoodies. And I said, oh, no, software. This like computers.
Yes.
Yeah. So he knew a lot about business, but he didn't know what about my specific. Yeah. Things like that was pretty new back then. I don't think you'll hear that nowadays, but
hopefully not. Yes.
All right. Okay, Deborah, thank you very much. And
absolutely.
So we're going to say goodbye here, and I'll end the stream as soon as it kind of catches up to us.
Excellent. Okay. Well, have a great afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.